Hello everyone, you are watching JavaScript for Beginners lesson 16. As you can see here, we just got our empty JavaScript file and we have selected two things, h1 and the button through the query selector method. Now let's simply move on to the HTML file and see what we have. So we do have a button followed by a heading. Now let's simply move on to script file and let's learn more about events in JavaScript. So what exactly is event? Event is nothing but an action. So how can we say that an action has happened in a document? Let's say that we click this button. This particular action is called as an event. Whenever we try to reload a page, it is considered as an event. So this is what is called as event in JavaScript. Now let's simply learn about inline events. As the name suggests, it's simply nothing but the events which are embedded on the HTML. Now let's try this out as well. There are plenty of events, but the most common one is click event. So on click, let's simply say alert clicked. Now let's simply click this button and see what we get. So as you can see here, we just got the alert saying that the button has been clicked. So we have simply created an inline event. So this is how we create an inline event in JavaScript. It's so simple. Now let's move on to our script file and let's learn about the add event listener method. So what exactly is this particular method do? This method helps us to create an event in a much simpler way and keeps our code much cleaner. Now let's simply select the button and let's add an event listener. Now let's simply do the same event, which is nothing but the click event, which you have to specify under the quotes followed by the callback function. And we have to specify some things which we want to happen when the button is clicked. In this case, let's simply say I just want to log button click this button and see what we get. So as you can see here, we just got the alert from the inline event, and as soon as we click the OK, we do get a log output, which is nothing but the button clicked. So this is nothing but the add event listener method. It's just so simple. All we have to do is select the element followed by the add event listener method, and over here you have to specify the event name followed by the function. So it's just so simple. This is how we create an event in JavaScript using add event listener method. Last but not the least, event objects. What exactly is event object? When an event occurs in JavaScript, the event simply belongs to a certain object. In this case, the click event belongs to the mouse event object, and it simply inherits all the methods and properties from the mouse event object. Now let's simply try this out as well. Now let's select the h1 and let's simply add an event listener, and let's use the mouse over event, and let's simply have a callback function, and let's add a event object and log the event object whenever the mouse is moved over the h1. Now let's simply hover over the h1. So we just got the event object. In this case, we do have different set of keys and values which are being set to the mouse over event. As I said before, this particular event belongs to this event object. In this case, it's mouse over. Now let's check the control key, which is set to false. Now let's simply try to move over the h1. So we just got false. And now let's simply press the control button and let's try to move over the h1 again. So we just got true, which is nothing but the control key is pressed whenever this particular event happens. So this is nothing but the event objects in events in JavaScript. So we just came across the inline events, which is nothing but the events that are being embedded on the HTML, and an add event listener method, which simply reduces the stress which we usually have on the inline events, and last but not the least, event objects. And one thing which you have to remember is whenever you try to use an add event listener method, we have to make sure that we create a function for the events which are happening n number of times. Let's say that we have this event many number of times in our document. How can we simply reduce the stress and write a clean code? All we have to do is simply create a function let's say function click, and now let's simply copy this and paste this over here, and let's simply remove this function, and instead of this let's simply add the function which we have created over here, which is nothing but the click function. Now let's press this. So we just simply got the same output, which is nothing but the button click. So this is how we simply play around with events in JavaScript. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video.